We are live. Good afternoon to everyone. A pleasant day to each and every one of you. Good afternoon to our Zoom participants, and good afternoon to our YouTube subscribers and viewers. So, welcome to another e learning session powered by Ariva Academy. Our topic today, this afternoon, is the power of success attitudes. Become the person who can change during a crisis. My name is Irish Malonde Samson, your host, and I would like to introduce to you our moderator, Mr. Howell Mabalot. Good afternoon, Sir Howell.
Good afternoon, Miss Irish.
How
I
was
missed
your long weekend?
a 3-day long weekend. Very relaxing. Ikaw, sa'yo. Kumusta?
With kids, of course.
Ayan.
So, join me, Sir Howell, in welcoming our participants who are
Yes, yes.
watching overseas, and they are from Darwin City, Australia, Kowloon
Wow.
City, Hong Kong, Chennai, India, Coimbatore, India, Ernakulam, India, Gashabad, Hyderabad, Mylapore, Phoenix, India. Okay. So we have someone from Doha, Qatar as well. Ru, Saudi Arabia, Singapore. Welcome to our e-learning session. Dubai, United Arab Emirates. And we have also participants who are watching from Carson City, Nevada, United States. Wow. And Denver, Colorado. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. So, in order for us to have a smooth flow of our e learning session, here are some few reminders. We would like to know who are the first time viewers here in our webinar, in our e learning session. Please type in hi in the chat box now and let us know where are you watching. So, let's check Ms. Elisa Soruela from DepEd Lipa City. Good afternoon, ma'am. Okay, Jane Duque, good afternoon. Ms. Rosemary. Alex Arelon, good afternoon from Jeddah. Wow. Thank you for joining us, sir. Rionel Escalona from Calacab, Batangas. Christine Sabate from Davao City. Okay. Elisa, good afternoon, ma'am. Noel Asoy. Joanne Pauline from Makati. Okay, let's do sound check now. So you will be needing a good quality headset. Please use the following codes. So type in now 111 to show if you can hear us loud and clear and audible. Okay, 111. Thank you. Mary Chris, Emilu, 111. Emilio, Vivian, Christian. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Okay. 222 means you cannot hear us. 2121 means the sound is breaking, and question mark if you don't understand anything. So far, 111, thank you. Hello, Honora from Florida Blanca, Pampanga. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. And we will be having a quick break later after the presentation of our guest speaker and before we move on to our question and answer portion. Participants' microphones will be temporarily disabled by the administrator during discussion to avoid interruptions. Questions will be entertained after each topic of the session. For questions and clarifications during the provided time after each topic, please click the raise hand button for the administrator to enable the microphone for live questions. Later at the question and answer portion, we will entertain live questions from our Zoom participants. Type in your questions at the Q&A box. One question at a time will be entertained. For comments and feedback, please scan this QR code. This will be directed to our feedback form. Please send us your comments, suggestions, topics to discuss in order for us to improve our future e-learning session. Okay? And to discuss the power of success attitudes, become the person who can change during a crisis. Mr. Howell Mabalot, please introduce our speaker for this afternoon.
Thank you, Miss Irish Malonda Samson, our beautiful president, for the honors of introducing our speaker for today. For the past 15 years, Coach Eric travels to UK, France, Canada, Singapore, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Japan, Australia, including the USA, to implement marketing activities for real estate developers, which he contributed to closing more than 3 billion pesos worth of sales. Today, he is a motivational speaker, international sales trainer, and marketing consultant. His passion is to share more than 20 years of business experience to guide Filipinos overseas, foreign investors, entrepreneurs, and professionals. Everyone, let's now welcome my dear friend, Coach Eric Manalo. Hello, Coach.
Hello. Hi. Hi. Thank you, Howell, and hi, Irish, and to all our listeners and viewers out there. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat.
Magandang hapon, Sir Eric. Dito sa BGC, makapal ang ulap, kumukulog, mukhang uulan na mamaya. But then again, nothing can beat the sunshine that comes from within you.
Yes, of course. Lahat tayo may glow talaga, no? That
Oh,
we can
yeah.
share to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have a power.
Yes, and we're excited. What's the secret to closing billions worth of sales? Sasabihin sa atin ngayon ni Sir Eric Manalo.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Howell. And now, as we start with our program, I will share. I'd like to. I'm pleased to share with you this slide presentation, which I prepared for everybody.
Good,
So
sir.
here we go. There we go.
Yeah.
So our topic for today is called the power of success attitudes. I decided to share this topic because it's very timely to. So I'm not here just to help them close a lot of sales for Muna, because I feel that this topic is very important now before
yeah.
we enter into the new transition. So this is based on my personal experience, and I'll be sharing some real scenarios that happened to me in my life. So maybe that they could also apply in their everyday life as we are entering the transition of the new world. Okay.
Wonderful.
So yes.
So, Sir Eric,
So let's
once
start.
your PowerPoint is ready, you may start. The center stage is yours. All the limelights are yours. I'll be the wind beneath your wings. I'll be facilitating the Q&A after your presentation.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Howell. Thank you. So, let's start first with this. Before we begin our topic, I'd like to share with you some basic laws in life. No? So let's start with some foundation here, because attitude is all basically an end result of various stages of our personalities. We have thoughts, we have vision, and we before it becomes an attitude, our way of thinking. So let's start with the basic, that we are all governed by universal laws in life, and we cannot we feel that sometimes we have control in life, but in reality we're totally not in control, because they are governed by universal laws. And there are several universal laws in life, but I'd like to share two of the most relevant laws that I believe that will help us in our topic today. The first law is called the law of energy, where what we focus is what will happen. So this is one part of our of how we develop attitudes, because we have to understand the concept, or the law of energy, and how it affects our daily life, our decisions. The second area we'll be discussing is called the law of cause and effect. This cause and effect is basically means that for every action has a equal and proportional reaction. Every decision we make has consequences. So let me clarify the two laws. The energy focuses on, we'll be talking about your mindset, the mindset, and the cause and effect. In reality, this we'll be discussing about decisions that affects our daily life, that contributes to an attitude of success. You see, in life, there are two types of energy. According to, if you remember our physics with Albert Einstein mentioned that energy cannot be created nor be destroyed, but it can transform from one form to another. So, in other words, we have energy 24 by 7, my friends, whether we like it or not. It's just we just have to identify if this energy is positive or negative. It's just like in the real world. We have negative energy and positive energy. Now, how do you determine if you have positive energy or negative energy? Well, it's very simple. We have these emotions that we feel on a daily basis that determines our thinking, and that affects our emotions and our attitude and decisions. So for example, when you feel that you have strong faith, for example, here are some emotions I'd like to share. When you feel love for each other, love for yourself and each other, and when you find courage when you're facing crisis in your life. you know that this is a source of positive. You are in a state of your positive energy. But when you're having negative energy, their emotions also helps you identify if you're having a negative energy today. If you're having, for example, if you're having emotions such as hate, self-doubt, fear, and so many more, so many areas that we feel negative. But these are just the top three, which I feel that are very relevant today. Everybody's experiencing self-doubt. I have no doubt about it. We're all experiencing hate. When you open the television, you hear the news, you're gonna it's gonna trigger hate, and of course fear, because you don't know what's gonna happen, which I truly understand from a psychological point of view. I know what it feels to have that kind of uncertainty, and because of that, it will trigger fear. So, my friends, there are only two energies in life. So we have to identify. It's very important before we go to the attitude. We have to identify. We have to be aware that there are energies that are inside us, inside our mind right now. That every day we have to battle. When you wake up in the morning, what do you feel? What energy do you feel? Do you feel uh, do you feel gratitude that you're still alive when you wake up in the morning, or do you sometimes feel, oh, what's going to happen in the future? See, those are the two energies that will battle you. And yeah, when I was in the lockdown, oh well, I remember when I was in the lockdown, I had this battle in my mind every single day. Waking up in the morning, do I feel negative today? Do I feel positive today? It's never perfect. It's always been a struggle. But what's important is you are aware of these two energies that are permanent in life, whether you like it or not. They will always be there. Fear will never be will is always part of life. Crisis is part of life, but so as hope. It's also that's which is the source of energy. Now, let's let's go deeper now as we are trying to understand that, because this topic, the power of success attitude, is not about business skills. It's not about strategies. This is about you. All of you who are listening right now, who are watching right now, all over the world. This is for you. We'll talk about you as an individual, as a person, understanding our life better, deeper. Okay. We have what we call public life. It's like I'm using the iceberg as a metaphor to explain what I'm trying to share to our audience. We all have a public life. We have different types, levels of life. The public life is the one that you see above, just like in the iceberg, how people see you in your work, in your career. And then we go deeper. The second level of our life is our personal life. Yeah, this is where we have our different ibang attitude natin sa public life. We have a different attitude in our personal life. Shall explain later. And of course, we have our inner life. Yes, my friends, we have an inner life. We might think that this is our public life, a personal life, but we also have an inner life. Public life is basically when you go out there, you go to work, what your physical, your financial health, anything that people could see who you are in public and what you do physically and financially in your work, in your business. That's your public life. Personal life refers to the things that are basic emotions, the reason why you are working so hard, the reason why we are here, the reason that makes life worth meaningful. You have a personal life that's different from public life, and sometimes these things are that they don't see. Like what's your mental state, your emotional state, your health, and our inner life, which refers to our spiritual health, which is kamusta na ang ating spiritual health? What causes demotivation? What makes a person feel depressed? It has something to do with spiritual health. They are all interconnected, my friends. So these different types of life are in different areas, different departments, but they are all interconnected. And this is how we will journey into your life as a person, as an individual, to further understand yourself, so that we can create the right attitude for our success. You see, sa life, crisis is part of life. But you also have to be aware that crisis is also in your mind. Forget the pandemic muna. Set aside the pandemic that's happening right now for the past 2 months that we have encountered. No? But you notice it's not about the physical health. The pandemic has affected majority of here watching, and some of our friends abroad, they have affected our mind in some way. But there's good news. You can treat this crisis as something that will develop you to make you stronger, or allow it to make you weaker. You have to make that transition and transform yourself. That should be the direction of our goals, huh? For that to transform, the ability to transform. But how can you transform if you have this kind of crisis in your mind? So that's the one I'd like to share with you. Yes, there's a crisis, but number two, there's something you can do about it. And that is my one of my message to you. Now, let's to understand further how we can survive the crisis. Don't forget. I always use a historical performance, and I share to my clients, my friends. Kayo ko ba? Can I overcome these challenges, Eric? Answer is yes, because throughout history, we've undergone so many depressions already. If you There's also in history called the Great Depression, 1930s, where practically 90% of the population was jobless. And but despite of this, there was a crisis in America at that time that was so terrible. There were people who rose, who took courage to fight back this crisis. And these are people like the CEOs at the time, like John D. Rockefeller, who had uh, became an oil magnate in the U.S. There was chaos in the oil industry at the time, but through his courage and determination, he was able to supply oil to 90% of America, which helped the progress and the economic development of the country. And of course, in history, more CEOs in history like Thomas Edison, were we remember him as he invented electricity, but there's also a problem. When you create electricity, no house had electrical outlet. So he had to create a power plant for that. Kasi siya nag-invento ng light eh. But every house had no power outlet. So another problem that he had to solve. So he created that industry, that problem, he was able to solve it. And that's why the crisis was solved. And another CEO which I'd like to share an example, Mr. Henry Ford. These are some of the first CEOs in history who built America. We know him as he invented the car, but actually there were already cars during his time. To have a car at the time in the 1920s, you got to have a driver. So in other words, it's so expensive. That was the problem. So Henry Ford came up with a car that was very affordable, is the T model, and because of this, he revolutionized the entire industry and even created the first manufacturing lineup of assembly line, they call it. That's why it created lots of jobs. So in other words, these CEOs, these captains of industry, had also their share of crisis, but they were able to solve a problem in the market. That's why it survived. It's all because they all had the same attitude of success. They never give up when there were crises. So that's the end. Now, allow me to share more history. I like to share this moving forward. Can anyone identify this picture? Maybe just a few seconds. Maybe anyone can identify this picture? This is the picture of Intramuros, Manila in 1940. Shocking, no, Howell?
Yeah,
This is
shocking.
Manila. Yes, this was after the war when the Japanese has bombed the entire Intramuros, totally
Wow.
devastated. Yeah, imagine the stress, the depression that Filipinos felt during that time. We've been through that kind of crisis. Before my grandmother would tell me, "Oh, apo, during our time, napakahirap ng buhay nung gera." And I would say to my lola, "Yeah, okay lang yan la, okay." But when I did my research, grabe, we Filipinos have undergone not just in life but also so many challenges in the past. Even our grandparents had their own crisis during their time. Yeah. Now, as we move forward, the Philippines progressed, and we can see, yeah, we like places like Makati. Yeah, of course, we've been growing and booming all these years, but it wasn't. We're not spared from crisis. There were also economic crises that happened in our life. If you remember the 1998 Asian financial crisis, I remember the time when for 24 pesos became 53 pesos to a dollar.
Yeah.
And the bank rates, were like 30 to 36% in 98. Can you imagine that scenario, no? Yeah, it was a financial crisis and catastrophe that happened. And yet, we all survived. We all survived. It's still there. It's not the end of the world, right? So we just move on. We Filipinos, we are resilient and we move on. Now I'm here. I'm showing all these slides to you because I want to remind you what we've been through, so that you can, from here, we can find out how we can move forward. Now, in the technology industry, of course, we all know, but we all had Friendster before. I had Friendster, but now here comes Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, and he came up with so many, of course, innovations in the industry. There was a problem that he solved, and now he was buying companies. He bought WhatsApp, he bought Instagram. Already the history. But of course, there were, and then in the 80s, back in the 80s, you remember these? You used to have a Walkman. I used to have a Nokia 5110. That was my phone. Akala ko okay na, chill na tayo, naka-cellphone ka na. But you still remember that the time we had no cell phones. But here comes someone like Steve Jobs, who invented the iPhone, and basically now we're all dependent on using this. So what I'm trying to say is, throughout history, we are always been transitioning without knowing it. Nagkataon lang that the pandemic has accelerated the change. Masyado tayong nabigla lahat. But if you notice, we already been doing change. Imagine mo, Howell, dati, when I'm talking to my friends in the US, magte-text lang ako. Ano yung text? People in the US, they don't know how to use text. Well, the Filipinos are already expert in texting. See? So there is already a transition happening through us. And now, people like Mr. Eric Yuan, who was denied with his US visa 8 times, in 2012, he invented Zoom, which we are using right now. And guess what? This is now the new normal. 2 months ago, we were all, live, face to face. But now we have to face the reality, and we are already doing it. Like it or not, we're already doing it. We're doing it right now. So, and we're doing fine, I think. I think we're doing fine. You see,
Yeah.
you just have to be confident. You see, dati, ano yung Zoom? What's Zoom? Hindi ko alam yan. When my clients tell me, do you have Zoom? No, I don't use Zoom. They have to use Zoom. So these things have transitioned already without you knowing it. So don't assume that you cannot change, because we have already been experiencing change for the past 10, 20 years. Now, in going back to the Philippines now, this was Global Bonifacio, Fort Bonifacio Global City way back 2003. Yeah, Howell, yeah, that's Howell, but that was before. But during that time, no one believed in Fort Bonifacio at the time. Everybody was scared. Developers were having secured their land, but nobody's building a project. But until one person, he built one project there, Essenza East Forbes, and then from there on, nagtuloy-tuloy na. He was one of my mentors, in Mr. Jose Antonio, the chairman of Century Properties. And because of that, his bold decision to build one project there had inspired the rest of the developers to create projects, and which made BGC with this as today. This is BGC now. Tama ba, Howell? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Plus some more buildings.
Just plus more buildings. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So yeah. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that we have not undergone not just transition, but also development. We've been growing and growing ever since. And how does it work? It all starts in belief. Kung hindi naniwala ang ilang tao nung time ng 2003, wala tayo ngayon dito. Walang BGC ngayon. The secret to moving forward is believing in the future.
Wow.
You have to see it so clearly na kahit wala naniniwala na aasenso pa ba ang Pilipinas, makakaraos ba tayo, you have to make that firm belief to yourself. Not to any sa'yo muna. To yourself muna. Because this is a clear example, the power of belief, what it can do to an economy, to a country. And I'm also here not just to inspire, but also give you some data, just a few data lang, just to give you an overview lang what's going to. Kasi some are asking, Eric, what's going to happen in the future? thanks to some of our friends from Lichu who gave me some data, recent data.
Mm.
This is a graph wherein it's called the growth of PESA, or what you call PESA. These are offices that are basically tax free zone
Mm.
or applied to the government, and then letting you know that there are a lot of companies and offices that will be built because there were a lot of application for PESA from 2020 and that's geared for 2021. If you see the graph in the middle, the year 2021, you could see that there are around 234,000 PESA applications that were submitted. So what it means in the next few years, of course, there will be new PESA applications coming over, but there will be more offices of PESA, accredited office, that will be set up. It's just a matter of timing lang. I'm not saying mag-boom, but it's going to be a slowly but surely. This is the basis of our growth that will happen. So that's and it's all the way, it goes until 2024. This was before the pandemic. Okay, another trivia. This is the power of belief. Can anyone describe the picture here in the slide? The location of this picture? Clue, it's another CBD, Commercial Business District.
Wow.
Okay,
Sa
sige,
may
no
Pasay,
problem.
Paranaque.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Thank you. That's right. It's near the airport. Okay. Alam mo, at the time, walang naniniwala.
Swamp. Oo, swamp lang
Walang
siya.
naniniwala. Yeah, it was just like this during the time. No one believed. But because of a few courageous CEOs and individuals and professionals, this is what you call now the Bay Area. Yan na, nakikita nyo MOA,
Yeah,
more than
grabe.
55 residential condos,
Mm.
more than 25 offices are there, not
Mm.
just the SMX, where Ariva, where we do seminars in Ariva doon sa SMX. My point is, ganyan ang power ng belief eh. It starts in your mindset. If walang naniwala, walang result.
Yeah.
So that's the cause and effect. It's like cause and effect. For every action, there's an equal reaction. So because people took action 10 years ago, that's why this is what it is now. So in real life, it's also the same in real life. Nakaka-relate tayo sa tunay na buhay. Kung
Yeah.
ito nangyayari to, we can also move from this crisis. Because if we have the right attitude, it all starts in the mindset. Okay, so further, this represents more PESA accreditation going on in outside Metro Manila. Yung kanina pinakita kong graph is within Metro Manila. 200,000 plus yun. But there are more PESAs accreditations are going to happen, and this is going to happen in areas outside Metro Manila. You have Cebu, Cavite, Davao, Iloilo, Pampanga, all the way to Clark. So, in other words, north to south, magkakaroon ng development. Nandiyan na yung mga application eh. This data is proven na ho, na-submit na yung mga yan. They already registered. So, they're just waiting for the right time and then they will set it up. Again, it's all about belief eh. Kung naniniwala ka na aasenso tayo, aasenso tayo. So, that's the key. So, the key is having a success attitude is also the ability to see the future. Magkakaroon ng mga new developments. Now, yes, totoo yan, na-pending yan. I'm coming from the side of, from the perspective of real estate industry. Being in the real estate industry for 15 years. Real estate is all about belief eh. Wala ngayon yan, pero doesn't mean hindi mangyayari yan. So it's all about bold vision and belief and taking action. So yan yung mga mangyayari. So here's another graph that shows, di ba marami nagtatanong, let's say, okay, what will happen to the next few months?
Yeah.
Mga work pa ba kami, maasahan? Yes, I have to admit, some will not survive, but there are others who will survive. But let me show you this graph muna that was shared to me. This was until January 2019, before the pandemic, which is my basis or my reference kung ano ba yung magiging growth. Okay, to make it simple, the blue line that you see here, the blue line represents the growth of or the office demand, the annual office demand that's happening in the Philippines right now. The Philippines. This is from 2006 to 2019. Now, notice, noong 2009, we had the H1N1 virus, which was one of the most deadliest virus in history. Yes, because of its higher kill ratio. And then, we undergone another challenge na naman. 2012, the MERS-CoV virus. Even all people in Hong Kong were covering, no? So nakaraos tayong lahat. We all survived, and then came the demand for office increased, tuloy-tuloy siya, and the orange represents the annual vacancy of offices. Ibig sabihin, the demand is increasing, but the supply does not meet the demand. What does it tell you? It should be more opportunities are going to happen for all of us. Kailangan lang maniwala lang tayo mangyayari yan. Okay? These are what industries? Like the IT industry, the BPO, ayan. No? Wag mo na yung Pogo, ha? Wag mo natin pag-usapan. Medyo, ano pa yan?
Quiet nga ako dyan.
No comment muna ako dyan. Ang
no
sinasabi ko muna
dyan.
yung BPO muna, BPO industry, the IT industry, and the digital marketing industry, which is what's happening. So, kasi nag-o-online na lahat eh. Lahat ng mga companies mag-o-online. So, therefore, more offices will be required para mag-set up ng online. And of course, more homes kasi work from home. So, these are the things that are trending and happening right now. Okay. Next is tourism industry.
Station
alam ko,
1.
Gigil na kayo. Yes, Station 1. I love that place. I love that. Alam ko, marami pang pictures dyan, pero ito lang kasi kaya ko. Ito lang yung time ko. Let me share. Right after, alam ko lahat kayo gigil na kayo mag-travel, you wanna go out, di ba? Ito ang good news. Akala kasi nila nadi-demotivate what will happen to the tourism industry, but I just want to lay the facts. Facts lang po tayo, ha? Para ang basis natin. This graph represents the latest number of tourism that's happening right now globally. So where is the Philippines? The Philippines, okay, please bear with me. The Philippines is on the far right of the slide. Ito to, nakikita nyo. Philippines yan, ha? The colored blue bar that you see here, the blue bar, represents the number of tourism that happened last year, 2019, ha? We had more than 107 million local tourism that happened all over the Philippines. Ibig sabihin ng local tourism, Howell, you and me, tayo, o lahat ng
Filipinos,
mga gusto mo, Boracay, Cavite, Baguio, Mindoro. So, yan yung tinatawag na local tourism. 107 million travels that happened. Now, compared sa international tourists, ayun, nasa babang-baba, ayun, no? 8.3 million lang, yung color orange. 8.3 million lang last year ang tourism. Akala natin ito yung mga tourists galing abroad, who traveled all the way abroad, na nagland sa airport at nag-tour sa Pilipinas. So akala natin we're overwhelmed by foreigners, diba? Ang totoo, hindi. Masyado nga tayong iwan na iwan eh. Compared to, for example, sa dulo, France. Ang France has 90 million galing abroad, pero mismo yung mga taga-France, konti lang sila. Ito pa, yung nasa Hong Kong, imagine mo, no? 56 million ang tourist sa labas. Pero sila mismo taga Hong Kong, 7 million, hindi silang demand. So what does it mean? What does it graph mean? Ibig sabihin, after this pandemic, or in the next few months, slowly but surely, magkakaroon tayo ng growth on tuloy-tuloy lang ang local tourism that will generate employment or income opportunities to our kababayans nasa local tourism industry. Yeah. So that's my basis. That's one of the, para malaman natin so that everybody will know na may pag-asa. And this is some data that proves that there's hope. Okay? So, yan. Okay. This one, diba, remember, there was a survey in Gallup, the worldwide survey in 2016, na sinasabi nila na 86% of the population, of the entire population, people are unhappy. Imagine mo, 86% of the global population are unhappy. Maybe they're unhappy with their job, happy with their life, unhappy with their relationship. Yan. So, and of course, these surveys are important. Although this is important to know employee engagement, especially sa ating mga nasa HR. But during the pandemic, dito lumabas, nasira lahat itong mga survey na to. Nasira lahat yung mga survey na yan pagdating nung dumating ang pandemic. We can really change our attitude. Like for example, there are some real stories makikita mo sa news na staff sa condo, sa common area natulog para makapagserbisyo. Imagine mo. And so many news. I'm sure marami kayong napanood pa sa TV, no? Heroic deeds from our Filipinos. Ibig sabihin, we the when once we understand purpose, this is one area that we discussed. Once we understand purpose, from engagement, they are willing to go to sacrifice,
Mm.
to the point of sacrifice. Hindi na to employee engagement. Hindi yung, it's not about I hate my job. No, wala
Yeah.
na eh. Talagang because they have a strong purpose,
Mm.
they it's beyond love eh. It's
Yeah.
beyond love for their job. Eh.
Mm.
It's sacrifice na. So my point is we can always change pala our attitude
Yeah.
given a situation when the situation demands for it. Hindi mo pwedeng, ay hindi na ako ganyan, hindi na ako magbabago. You cannot change me. That's my attitude. No. Because this is proof that we can change our attitude. There are still people like that. Okay. This next slide I'm sharing you is, of course, lahat ng psychologists familiar dito, but to those who are not psychology, baka na-take up natin to noon. This is called the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. In 1943, ginawa niya to. Ayan. Noong time na yon, ginagawa niya to, sabi niya, of course, we are all familiar, bottom is the psychological needs, safety needs, then we have psychological needs, the belongingness, the need to be loved, the need to have higher self-esteem, and self-actualization. But before he passed away, Abraham Maslow passed away, he said in his deathbed that, no, self-actualization is not the highest form of need. It's called self-transcendence. Self-transcendence. Ito yung the ability where there's a sense of meaning in his work. You know, people like us who reach this our maximum potential, you have this tendency to share it to others. Kasi otherwise you won't be happy. Even if you're on the top of the pyramid. Ikaw na na-reach mo na lahat ng goals mo. Chill ka na dapat eh. Nagpapahinga ka na lang dapat sa ganito eh. You have a lifestyle already that you're enjoying. But bakit meron pang nagbumubulong sa'yo na tuwing madaling araw na you want to help other people? Just because there's this one need na kailangan pang gawin, and that's self-transcendence. Your ability to share, to do whatever you can to help other people. That's another need. But you will only achieve that once you surpass the other levels. The other levels. Because our greatest challenge kasi, and to all our friends watching this, one of our greatest challenges actually hindi yung food, hindi yung basic needs eh. Right now in this pandemic, the most challenging areas of this is the psychological need.
Yes.
We're having problem right now, the psychological need. Forget the skills, forget the how to close the deal. Wala mo nang ganyan eh. Talagang diba? Ang sales kapag nawala ang momentum, nawala ang moral, wala na eh.
Yeah.
It's also the same when people report back to work next week. Because naapektuhan, at least 25% naapektuhan ang kanilang moral, their self-esteem. And I truly understand this. Watching all the videos that you had, I've watched all of that, and I come to a conclusion that the greatest challenge that you have right now is psychological needs. And I will emphasize this further on my next slide. Now, if you compare if you compare the hierarchy of needs, which was created in 1943, and if you compare this to the triangle of wealth, you know, familiar naman kay lahat dito, di ba? The triangle of wealth. This was in 1970s, which started in 1970s, early 60s, wherein we were categorized as pag poor ka, class C ka, pag middle class ka, class B, pag level up rich ka, class A ka. So binigyan tayo ng market segmentation. But when I compare the hierarchy of needs and the wealth triangle, you will discover a pattern. You will discover a pattern that is affecting us right now, even before this pandemic happened. I noticed that 74% of the people who are below or in poverty, 74% according to the survey, yung poor, below poverty level talaga siya. And you will notice in the hierarchy of needs that majority of those who are in that area are also in the on the right side of the triangle. Papapansin mo, notice those who are poor his only priority is safety and security lang, or needs, yung food, basic lang. Okay na sila ron. So the success level wala na eh kasi nandun sila sa level na eh. And I'm not here to give them to give any comments, but of course andun sila eh. They're in that stage eh. And we have to help them eh. We really have to help them. But definitely those who are really suffering right now are also having challenges mentally, not just physically, but also mentally. And according to the study, that 25% of the rich of the wealth triangle are in the lower class, or going to the middle class na. Ito na yung mga nakakaraos na. Yung more than basic needs ang kanyang kinikita. Income level is a bit higher now. But if you compare this to the hierarchy of needs, mapapansin mo yung pattern. That these people who are elevating their income have at least a higher level of needs na na-achieve nila. They have a higher self-esteem, for example. Diba? For example, me, before, I didn't know what self-esteem is all about when I was starting in my career. Basta happy na ako, may trabaho na ako, 9 to 5, earning 8,000 a month. Okay na ako doon. You know, aking comfort zone. I was not aware na I was in the anong class level ko. Basta just do my job. And then I discovered mayroon palang tinatawag na self-esteem. And I noticed that those people you will notice these middle class families who are with growing income, they have higher self-esteem. They feel like a better citizen, a better father, a better family member, someone that they can contribute to society. We have to be an efficient worker. Yeah. So higher siya. And last but not the least, you will notice, according to the survey of the Wealth Triangle, only 1% will be of the upper have achieved the level of upper class. These upper class, of course, everybody knows, are someone with higher income, something like kumikita na ng millions, no? In population, statistically speaking, konti lang sila na nasa taas. But if you compare this to the hierarchy of needs, you will also notice the pattern. Oo nga, no? Those CEOs, those rich individuals, you will notice they have achieved self-actualization. You see the pattern? Yeah. See the similarity here? And I discovered that, okay, so ano ang major problem na yun? Okay, so kasi napapansin mo, those like CEOs, like Steve Jobs, like Warren Buffett, na-achieve na nila yung highest potential nila eh. But notice those who are middle class and the poor, for example, or middle class, ito yung number one problem nating lahat. Because we were not able to achieve or we have unfulfilled potentials. We were not able to develop our self-esteem. Kaya hindi tayo nakarating sa taas. It's not about the money. It's not about being successful, having all your wealth. No, it's about the mindset from growing from one stage to another until ma-achieve natin one's potential. But the greatest problem that we have right now is man's greatest burden right now is unfulfilled potentials. Marami pa tayong potentials na hindi na-achieve. Now, you think you have potentials. You have already achieved your potential. But in reality, you can never achieve your highest potential. Never. Let's say if you hit this level of success, one day you will wake up, meron ka pa palang kailangan gawin. Oh, biglang, then pag na-achieve mo na, meron ka pa palang kailangan gawin. Yun. This is why success attitude comes about. This is very important. Having the success attitude will help us go to that direction so that we can help others. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this, because in my own experience, I have really achieved my own level of success. But when you are in that level, I want to share this to others. If we all possess it, it's like this kasi. Each and every one of us possess a certain knowledge, a certain skill. But if you possess that kind of skill, what are you willing to do to share that knowledge? Anything. You're willing to share this anything. Kasi at the end of the day, merong bumubulong sa'yo eh. Eric, ituro mo naman yan sa mga tao para makatulong ka. Yun, yung 74, para matulungan mo yung 74 na maging 25, na maging 1%. Isn't that a good goal? That's how we start success attitudes. Yeah. So I hope that triangle helps, those comparisons. Now, according to Gallup, sabi nga na definition of success is all about money or passion. But in lumabas sa survey, out of 300 participants, hindi nagkakalayo pala ang definition of success, if it's money or passion. So my message is, why not combine passion and finances, di ba? Why not make your passion something na monetize your passion? Pwede naman, di ba? So that you can achieve it. Sabi nga, money is not the only thing in life, but it's the only thing that everybody keeps track of. So my message is, why not you combine passion to make it profitable so you can help others. Because it's called purpose. Ito na yan. What does God want to be done while we're here on earth? Minsan, dumarating din sa point na parang, okay, so you have achieved a level of success, okay na tayo, chill ka na dapat, hindi ka na nga dapat, relax ka na lang eh. But parang may bumubulong sa'yo gabi-gabi. Or when you're in my prayers, in our meditation, habang nagdadasal. Kasi talaga, Howell, I have to admit, talaga nagdadasal ako every day.
Oh, yeah, dapat.
With me and my wife, nako, Diyos ko po, we pray the rosary every night. Oo, talagang, alam mo, blessing din eh. Dalawang buwan kang na-lockdown eh. Dalawang buwan ka nagdadasal eh. Talagang mapapadasal ka. And while we're praying, may pumapasok sa isip mo eh. Oh, ikaw, okay na buhay mo. Kapapano na may ibang tao.
Yeah.
Kailan mo sila tutulungan?
That's right.
Parang may gumagano'n sa'yo. So, Lord, ano bang message mo sa akin? Bakit pa ako buhay pa? Maybe there's a reason why I'm still alive in this world. Hindi ako, nagpapasalamat ako, you took care of me, hindi ako nagkaroon ng sakit. Pero, ano pa ang purpose ko? Bakit pa ako buhay? Maybe yung pala may purpose kayo. Sometimes you already know the answer and what your purpose is. You already know it. But of course, sometimes you may already know, but you just need to take action. Yun lang naman ang kailangan dito. You just need to take action. It's whispering in your mind. Alam mo yan eh. Alam ko nakaka-relate yung audience dito eh. May bumubulong sa inyo eh. Minsan, there's a voice within, a divine voice that's para bang ganito. I was in LA, Howell. I was in LA, in my hotel. Chill ako doon. Sabi ko, one day, 3 a.m., sabi sa akin, may bumubulong sa akin, every night yun, sabi, kailan mo babalik, sa dami na binigay kong biyaya sa'yo, Eric, kailan mo babalik to ituturo sa iba? Talagang kinilabutan ako rin. Oh my God. Maybe I need to start doing something na. Diba? So, ganyan lang. We all have our own small blessings, but we have to do something. And it's called purpose. You have to find our purposes. Because in a pandemic situation, once your purpose is greater than your fears, no crisis can stop you.
Wow.
You can do it. You can do this. This is something my personal quote I like to share to everybody. To each and
I like
everybody.
it.
Yeah. How do we move on from the crisis? How do we move on from this pandemic? How do I start to live my new life? Well, my friends, purpose. You have to make your purpose greater. What does God want done? Not what He wants. Not what you want, what He wants done, so that you can help others. And this is called purpose. And when your purpose is higher than your fears, there's no crisis that can stop you. No one. And proof, here's my proof. Remember our frontliners, my friends. Di ba lahat tayo naghahanap ng proof, di ba? When we have a certain message, people tend to find proof. Well, here's proof. Our frontliners. Huwag yung kakalimutan sila. Imagine mo, what they're doing is more than purpose. I remember, Howell, when I was in New York. I was in New York last March. As the pandemic, nag-uumpis na yung pandemic nung time na yun, nasa New York ako na. I was closing deals in New York eh. Tapos sabi ko, pauwi na, I had to change my flight back to Manila because of the pandemic. And before my flight, I had the chance to talk to some group of nurses in New York. And our brave Filipino nurses in New York, nakausap ko sila. Mga frontliners sila, kagaya. Nakikita niyo sa picture. Tapos sabi ko, alam niyo, okay na kayo, di ba? I mean, sabi mo, maganda sweldo niyo rito. You can go home to Manila. Marami na kayong investment. Pwede na kayong mag-retire eh. Pwede na kayong mag-relax. Pero, why are you doing this? Why do you have to do this? Parang isa-sacrifice mo na yung sarili niyo pag bumalik kayo sa hospital doon. Alam mo, Howell, sabi sa akin ng nurse, si Eric, kasi I feel ito ho ang purpose namin sa buhay. Ito ang pakiramdam namin, kaya siguro kami nilagay ni Lord sa ganitong posisyon para makatulong ho sa ibang tao. Para pag dumating ho ang panahon, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when I retire, looking back, hindi ko ho pagsisisihan itong ginawa ko. That during that time, when people needed me, I was there. I never gave up on them. I did all my skills, all my knowledge para makatulong po sa tao. Alam mo, I went to tears. Talagang grabe, we were having that. I couldn't explain the feeling. May mga tao pa palang ganun sa mundo. Kailangan lang maniwala ka lang. And sometimes the pandemic will bring out the best in you. So, my main message is this. Every time you feel na nalulungkot ka, you want to give up na. Every time you have that feeling, remember our frontliners. Nakakahiyang mag-give up eh. Pag
Oo.
nakakakita mo sila, para bang nahihiya ako eh. Na
Yes.
di ba? Ma-depress eh. Pag nakikita ko yung pinagdadaanan nila. So that gives you encouragement. That because they have this success attitude, not just financial. A success attitude is the ability to do what you want with success, with purpose. You succeeded in helping others. That's success attitude for me. So don't forget, okay? Remember them. See, attitude is part of our daily life. What we think is what we do, and that becomes an attitude. I remember sa last webinar mo with Professor Ricky, sabi nga, diba, meron tinatawag na 21-day attitude, right? Habit. Totoo yun. When it becomes a habit, when you're closing deals, magiging habit mo na yung mag-closing deals. When you're helping others, yung magiging habit mo rin yan. Kung mainitin ang ulo mo, magiging mainitin ang ulo mo araw-araw.
Yes.
So, tama siya eh. So, it boils down to attitude. And once it's attitude, naging attitude na yan, it's already in your subconscious mind. Pag attitude na. Kasi why? Nagiging ano na siya, repeated thinking, doing, it becomes an attitude na. It's an automatic response. So we have to understand that attitude is so important in handling in various areas of our life. What is this? For example, when you're facing problem, what is your attitude when you're facing problem? Remember the first slide, negative and positive energy.
Yes.
Anong approach ko ito? Negative or positive? When I'm facing a problem now. When I'm in my health, am I taking care of my health? No, but iba, yes, I'm doing it. Kagaya mo, Howell, I really admire your talent. And of course, may iba naman, wala lang, chill lang. Pinababayan ang health nila. And nagtataka sila, bakit sila unhealthy? Nagtataka sila, bakit sila may sakit? Because your health condition now was your attitude in the past few months. So wala kang pwedeng sising kundi sarili mo, sarili natin. It's attitude eh. What's your attitude towards your health? Kamusta na ba health mo? Are you taking care of your health? Importante yan, right? Especially nowadays. Ngayon, tingnan mo, nagbagong attitude ng tao, no? Biglang naging health conscious lahat.
Totoo yan.
We have to take a pandemic. Kailangan pa magkaroon ng pandemic para maging health conscious, eh, no? Okay. Next, mind. What's your attitude in taking care of your mind? Are you taking care of your mind? Ano bang pinifeed mo sa mind mo?
That's right.
Constantly, every day. If you watch television 24/7, hindi nyo kakayanin. Local, international news, ay sus, masisira ulo mo. Kasi pinifeed mo, nag-feed ka eh. So, feed your mind to overcome a crisis. Feed your mind with positive and productive insights. Yan, kagaya ng webinar ng Ariva, sa inyo, na Irish, maraming natututunan ng mga tao. Yan ang i-feed nyo araw-araw para makamove on, makamove forward. Paano ka makamove on? You don't know what to move on anyway. Or do you even have an attitude? Do you have the attitude to build your mind? So very important yan. Your mind is so powerful that it could create or destroy you. So mamimili ka lang, negative or positive. Next, your faith. How about your faith? I leave this question to all of our audience. Siyempre, hindi naman siguro sa atin lahat religious. But, of course, for me, whether you like it or not, there's an invisible force.
There is.
That guides us. Na kahit anong galing mo, kahit anong nang gawin mo. Imagine mo, dumating na coronavirus sa atin. Saan nang galing yan, di ba? This is the time where you have to really, it will test your faith. So what's your attitude towards faith? Do you really believe or you deny him? So when, di ba, sabi nga nila, when you, negative and positive ulit. Balikan natin, negative and positive. Kasi pag divine intervention, positive yan, sigurado, right? Coming from him. Pero pag lumalayo ang tao sa energy na yon, nagiging negative energy comes in. And that's where all the unfortunate things that are accelerating, accumulating from that. So can you follow? I hope don't get me wrong. Sinasabi ko lang.
Ang galing.
I'm not saying you see, I'm not saying na anong religion, no. I'm saying is anything na may divine intervention, inspiration is positive energy. Anything that's outside, once lumalayo tayo sa kanya, pasok si negative energy sigurado. And we will not survive. We will not survive. So that's your attitude. Be very careful with that. And of course, service. What's your attitude towards service when you're servicing other people? Are you happy serving others? Or do you feel this is just a commitment, a work? Dati takot magtrabaho ang mga tao. Dati ang daming medyo hindi ganun ka-serious magtrabaho. But ngayon nagkaroon ng pandemic, ngayon medyo sineryoso na pala ang trabaho. May kasabihan you never know something, you don't value something until it's gone. Yeah. So have an attitude of service. Kahit walang kapalit, give it good service. Whether you're servicing your clients, your boss, your team members, your workmates, and your family, of course. Very important thing. Next, your attitude towards goals. What are your goals towards attitude? Do you even have a goal? I think 2 buwan. For 2 months tayo na.
70 days.
Meron bang, anong ginawa mo? Diba? Yeah. Parang ganun ang tanong Anong ginawa niyo sa sarili? Nanood lang ba tayo ng TV, Netflix, or you've got to have goals. You see, that all starts with goals. Sige, okay, granting, hindi ka pa ready. Emotionally, you're depressed, you're down. No problem. But don't be tied forever. Don't let your goals have nothing to do with the crisis. Yung pangarap nyo sa buhay, I'm here. No, I'm not, don't get me wrong. My message is, kung ano man yung pangarap nyo sa buhay nyo, huwag nyong hayaang masira yun dahil nagkaroon lang ng pandemic. It has nothing to do. Your aspirations have nothing to do with the pandemic. So, keep those goals. Have an attitude of keep those goals alive. Next, skills. Ayan. Okay na ako dito sa skills ko, and then boom, dumating ang pandemic. Anong gagawin natin? Ay nako, Zoom, hindi ko expertise yan. IT, online, yan na. So again, attitude yan, my friends. Attitude. Do you have an attitude to improve your skills?
Yeah.
Or are you just waiting what's gonna happen? Are you just gonna wait? What's the next memo? Anong sasabihin ng kumpanya mo? If, let's say, nawalan ka ng work. For example, in my case, if I lose my job right now, ano pang pwede kong gawin? My attitude is like that di kayo ko mag-admin, kayo ko mag-customer service, I can do training, I can do consult. Multi-talented ba?
Yes.
You have set of skills na kahit mawala ang isa, okay ka lang. Your attitude is okay. I know this is a challenging mindset to have that multiple skills, but it's never too late to start, especially when you're young. Doon sa mga nanonood ngayon, ng mga bata pa, ng millennials, please, huwag niyo isipin na ito lang ang skill ko. Eric, ito lang, hindi ko kaya yan. From IT, magsa-sales ako. From IT, no, hindi ko kaya yan. No. This is part of the of life that we have to be prepared by having an attitude of skills. Next, finance. Medyo susulitin ko na ha. Medyo
sure.
tackle different areas. Ang dami kasi nagre-request, ang dami nag-message sa akin this past few weeks. So gusto ko na isama sa topic natin. What is your attitude towards finance? Are you taking care of your finances? In a pandemic situation, I suggest please keep your resources, whatever's left. Medyo iwas muna tayo sa mga unnecessary expenses. I'm also guilty with that. Kasi gastos dito, gastos doon. Ito, biglang dumating ang pandemic. Ito na. So, now, you could blame the world. You can blame the pandemic. You can blame your boss, your economy, your family. But at the end, tingnan mo the reason why you are in this financial problem situation is probably hindi tayo nakapag-prepare. Diba? So, okay, granting hindi ka nakapag-prepare and you're now financially challenged. Hindi pa huli ang lahat, my friends. May pag-asa pa.
Yeah.
You always remember that you have the capability. You have to believe in yourself, in your attitude. Hindi, kaya kong kumita ulit. Nawala man, pero kaya kong kitain yan. Pera lang yan. Kaya kong kitain yan.
Tama.
And I'm gonna be very careful. So, yan ang attitude mo. May nawala, okay, pero isipin mo yung kahit hindi pa, you have to believe as if it's gonna happen na may mangyayari. May biyayang parating. Yun, yung term ko dun. Palagi may biyayang parating. Don't worry about the bills. Isipin mo yung paparating. Meron yan, kahit wala pa. Family. Yeah, what's your attitude toward your family? Alam mo, hindi biro yung kasama mong family mo for 70 days, Oo, kasama sa social media. Pero lalabas din ang
Oo.
tunay na ugali. Minsan magiging moody. Hindi naman kayo puro magaganda. Hindi naman palagi nasa Facebook lang, saya-saya sa Facebook picture, di ba? Pero behind the scenes, may mga ano yan, away din yan, ha? May mga hindi
Oo.
pagkakaunawaan. Oo, I'm just being ano lang dito, realistic, real life
Sure.
lang tayo, okay? Hindi perfect eh. Talagang kasama, kasi for the first time, kasama mo na sila araw-araw.
Oo.
So, nakikita mo yung mga negative side nila, positive side. So, you as a family member or as a head of the family, kanina mag-umpisa ang attitude. Natural sa'yo. Yung
Yeah.
nakikinig ngayon sa seminar na, sa webinar na to, this is why I'm sharing with you right now. Maybe you should increase your patience. Number one, di ba? Makukulit yung mga bata, turuan mo, guide mo, ganun. So, yung attitude mo to your family. Kasi imagine mo kung negative ka sa family, negative na nga scenario, negative ka pa sa family mo, wala eh. We will not achieve a successful life. And that one of the goals is to have a success attitude, have a successful family life. You cannot be successful in your career if you don't have a successful family life. Kailangan connected siya. It has to be connected. Next. Next is what we call team. O yan. Pag ako, sa mga paampayo ko sa lahat, when you come back to work next week, those who may mga work mga babalikan, at yung mga please, kamustahin niyo yung mga kasamahan niyo sa trabaho. Reach out to them. Kamusta ka na? Are you okay? Pwede tayo mag-usap? Can you reach out to them, please? They need your advice right now. And this is where your attitude of being a listener. Hindi bilang advisor agad, you listen first. Then, para magkaroon ng ano. Kasi, hindi lahat ng tao positive Howell.
Totoo yan.
We are so fortunate here, tayo, at mga nakikinig ngayon, kahit paano we have a very positive mindset right now. But in the real world out there, hindi ganun. At least 90% ng population na yun don't feel the same that we are doing right now. Kaya please, when you come back to real world, listen to them, reach out to them. Baka naman may problema sila or kahit hindi mo matulungan, at least be heard of. So these are some examples of how you can apply attitude, success attitude in different areas in your life so that you can live a very meaningful, not wealthy, meaningful life. So start with your attitude. Thank you for that. Next. The key to having a success attitude is this. Ito yung ginagawa ko sa sarili ko. It worked for me and I hope it worked for you. Alam ko marami na kayo nabasa ng libro and webinars and I appreciate that. Ito dagdag, I just like to add this one. But this one works for me. Simple lang. Vision, decision, and action. The key to success attitude is this. Vision. Even how do I visualize myself from this pandemic? Tama sila. Sige, take your time. Wala mo ng plano-plano. Sige. Diba? Sad mode ka muna. Pero teka muna, wag forever.
Yeah.
So, what do you visualize? What starts with your vision? How do I see myself in the next?
Most people and most businesses can shoot a video like this.
And then from that vision,
what they
you
can't
now
do
make a
is stuff
decision.
like this.
Okay, I'll make a decision and I'll commit to this
Or stuff
decision
like
no
this.
matter what.
It's the
To
little
be of
touches
service
like
to
this
and
that
then
make a video look a
taking
lot
action.
less
When you say taking
homemade
action,
and a whole lot
this is
more
not about
professionally produced.
doing this for 1 week
Look
and
at
then
us.
after the webinar,
Which
wala
one
na.
would you keep watching? Which of us
Kailangan it
looks
must
better?
be consistent
It used to be
action.
that if
You
you
never
wanted
give
this
up
level
until
of
you achieve
professional
your
quality,
target. Kagaya ng
you'd
sa
either
screen.
have to
Lahat
pay
tayo may
a
target.
professional editor
So what is
or
this?
buy
Here are some
expensive
4
software
tips that I'll
and
share.
spend weeks
Number
having
1,
to teach yourself how to
self-improvement.
use it. But not anymore.
How I
Videos
improve
lets you
myself.
make
What's
stunning
your vision,
animations
decision, and
that are
action to
customized
improve
to your
yourself?
video in just a
And
few
then how
clicks. And all you
do you have a
is buy
vision,
a
decision, and
one-time
action for your
lifetime
family?
membership
How
for
do I see my
$67.
kids
And
coping
then
up
you can use
with this
hundreds of
pandemic?
templates, effects,
Okay, I'm sure lahat
animations,
kayo
music,
aware kayo dyan.
sound, and
And of
everything
course,
else on every
vision, decision, action for your purpose in life, and the future. Yan ang 4 na very important target that we should.
Yes.
Marami pa yan, pero these are. I feel this is the 4 major areas in our life that we have to make a vision, and then making a decision, and then taking action. Like for example, looking at the future, see the future. Kagaya ng BGC, right? hindi
Oo.
nagkaroon ng BGC kung walang nagkaroon ng vision. May
Mm.
mga, di ba, may mga taong nagkaroon ng vision, hindi. Aasenso
Mm.
tayo. O yun,
Yeah.
nagkaroon, boom. Yeah, it's the only way to find out the future by making decisions now. And it starts with vision. See, whether you like it or not, this is the new normal now. Transition and transformation. From office work like this, nakasanay natin lahat, to this is our new world.
Mm.
And relax lang. It's not the end of the world, my friends. Hindi to kagaya sa mga movie na papanood niyo na sumasabog na, yun na, may Armageddon na. We're still alive, oh. We're still alive, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up. I'm here to wake you up. We're still here. We're still okay. And I'm here to let you know na makakaraos tayo. We're not doing it, actually. We're now slowly, from the time na nung panahon na walang cellphone. Ayoko, well, kung naalala mo, pero ako, tanda ko pa yung panahon na walang cellphone.
Oo naman. Hi. College time. Wala pang cellphone
right? Nun. Wala pa. Lahat tayo, uwi pagkatapos ng college, diretso sa bahay. Walang cellphone. Pero nagkaroon cellphone, lahat tayo nasanay. Ganyan din to. Yeah. Kung di ka sanay sa ngayon, the computer na ang mga meetings mo. Okay? All right, so this is one of the most important topic in our attitude now.
Mm.
This circle the red circle that you see here, represents the areas that are beyond our control.
Mm.
They're under control, huh? And the blue in the middle that you see here, this is the area where the areas in our life that's within your control.
Mm.
Mm. People are telling me most of the time na kasi because they haven't, before I share this, they say me, "Oh, Eric, naku, paano yan? Paano yon? Puro reklamo no? Stress." Okay, so let's find out muna, let's dissect all your issues and let's see kung yan ay within the control or beyond your control. Bago mo sabihin, I surrender, suko na ako, hindi ako makaka-move on. Before you say those things, tingnan natin. When you are in a crisis, is that beyond your control? I like to ask the audience. Yes?
Okay, type in yes if you believe this is yes.
Oh, this is a quiz, huh? Yes or no lang ang sagot.
They're saying yes. They are all saying yes.
Okay, good. Why? Yes, I agree. Because crisis is beyond our control. Dumating yung pandemic eh. Saan ba nanggaling yung coronavirus na yan? Wala na tayong magagawa. Nandyan na yan eh. Okay, next. Economy. These are things na wala tayong magagawa, right?
Yeah.
Kung ang dollar naging 24 to 53 in 1998, wala kang magagawa.
Grabe yan.
Economy yan eh, yes. Bank rates, Howell, 30%.
Grabe.
Kawawa yung mga nag-loan. And then next, past. Is there something you can do about the past? Wala na. Hindi tayo kagaya ng panahon na sa X-Men si Wolverine bumalik sa time.
Parang may time capsule, no? Time machine.
Walang time capsule eh. Yeah, wala tayong
time machine.
Time stone eh. Yung time stone ni Thanos, wala eh. Yeah. So these are things are beyond there. So out na yan. Wag mo ng problemahan yan. No? Diba? Change. How about change? Alam mo, sabi nga, I got 50-50 answers on this one, Howell. Sabi nila, kaya natin baguhin. But no, majority pa rin say, no, it's beyond our control. Okay, sige, granting. Lagyan natin dyan. Yes or no? Ito pa, next. How about negative people in your life?
Ang dami
Do you
yan.
consider this as yes or beyond your control or no? Ayan na, nakikita ko na yung mga messages. Yes
They're
or
still
no.
saying yes. They're still saying yes.
Yeah. Pag sama-samay mo na lahat, kamag-anak, mga past friends, okay? Bashers, haters, etc., okay? Negative.
Ang dami niyan sa Facebook. Ang dami niyan sa Facebook.
Wala kang magagawa.
Totoo.
Negative people in your life. Wala kang magagawa eh. Nandiyan na yan eh. Challenges. Oh, yes. Yes. Is this something beyond your control? Probably. Challenges are there kasi hindi mo matatapos yan eh. Kung may dumating na bill sa'yo, next month may bill na naman.
Oh. Nag-accumulate na 3 months pang 4th month na.
Diba? Never ending ang challenges eh. So, okay, lagyan natin siya sa beyond your control. Sige, lagyan natin yan. How about fears? Yes or no? Yes. Kasi it's like people we consider this as beyond your control because parang negative energy yan eh. Nandyan na yan eh. Positive and negative, wala kang magagawa. Hindi mo kayang tanggalin ng negative eh. It's always there. How about time? Time. Para bang kulang ang time, ano? Like say
And
you have 2
pwedeng,
months.
and this could be our last day for all we know.
Diba? Correct. Yes. I mean, if this was the last, ito na, Howell, for example lang, medyo nakakalungkot sabihin to, di ba? Especially to those who were infected by the virus, di ba?
Yeah.
Imagine mo, pag na-infect ka ng virus, 2 weeks na lang. You only have 2 weeks to live.
Mm.
So, what I'm trying to point is this. If you have time, if kung nyari, alam mong, kahit wala tayong sakit, we all know that one day we will pass away.
Yeah.
So, what's the problem? Diba? So, dapat hindi ka dapat na-depress. Dapat lalo mo ilabas ang galing mo.
Yeah.
But sad to say, this is something that people believe that's beyond their control. We'll find out. Next. The future. Oh, yes. Sabi ko kanina, some future should be envisioned. But based on my survey, marami pa rin nagsasabi, wala silang magagawa sa future. What's in store for me? So, nilalagay nila sa red circle.
Yeah.
It's something that's beyond their control, which is probably true, but we'll find out in this next slide. So, yan yung mga sasabing things that people are complaining that's beyond your control. So, this is the attitude that I would like to share to everybody. The same attitude I had when I encountered all of this. Kasi lahat naman tayo nakaka-encounter. Change your attitude and you change your reality. You see, you and me, all of us, we all have a different reality. Iba ang reality ni Howell, iba ang reality ko. Iba ang reality na isang CEO, iba ang reality na isang janitor. Iba ang reality na isang bata, iba ang reality na isang adult. So we all live in different realities. You have an accepted reality, I have an accepted reality. And we respect those realities. But when you want something so bad, you want change, you want to move on, if you change your attitude, you can alter your reality. You will start to begin realizing things. No, kaya ko pala. Dati hindi ko kaya mag-Zoom, ngayon kaya ko pala. O, diba? You change.
2 months ago, di ko alam yan.
Di ko rin alam yan. So, changing your attitude, yeah? And then, be responsible for your success. Ito napakahalaga itong gusto ko i-share sa inyo lahat. The key to a success attitude is being responsible for success. You don't pinpoint anyone. You don't blame anyone. Your parents, your family, your wife, your spouse, your boss, your economy, wala. Because if you don't have these two items, you cannot change attitude. Forget this webinar. Hindi natin ma-achieve yung gusto natin. So these are the two important elements to change your attitude, right? Changing your attitude and being responsible for your success. Because remember, no one is responsible for success, hindi kayo lang. You are accountable to yourself, not to anyone. To yourself muna. Now, if you apply this, that you now within your control, your circle now within your control will now expand. This is my advice. Kanina, di ba, late nung within your control. My advice is you now with the right attitude, with the right mindset, you can now expand the area within your control. And what are the key steps to this? First, start with vision. Start with your vision. How do I see myself rising from this event to this problem? Then from there, from having the vision, then you make the decision. Hindi pa action, ha?
Yeah.
This is just the first part. I'm not saying na go, rally. No, hindi ganon. Decision. Kasi, kailangan kasi maging balance ka muna eh. Okay, vision, and then making the decision. And then what's within my control? Ano bang kaya kong kontrolin? How about strategies? Kaya ko bang kontrolin strategies? Wala kang magagawa sa crisis, pero you can strategize. You were given a mind, a very talented mind to strategize. Okay, anong gagawin ko? Sige, cost cutting, tsaka focus muna ako sa mga ganito. Marami kang pwedeng gawin, magugulat ka. You'll be surprised. Ang dami mong pwedeng gawin if you have that mental attitude of being strategic in your moves. But you cannot do this if you don't have a vision and then you make the right decision. And the next is taking action. Ayan, napakahalaga nito. Maaring wala kang magagawa sa problema, but there's something you can do with your action. Now, the question is, are you going to take positive action or negative action? Dalawang klaseng energy, remember? So, positive action means I'm going to do something. I'm going to be very proactive. I'm going to participate. I'm going to support. Hindi yung, I'm going to complain. I'm going to reklamo. I'm going to bash. Imagine mo, Howell, sa dami ng mga tao na ubos ang oras kababash online.
Totoo yan.
Yeah, see? That's what I'm trying to say. These are people who are the red circle. So don't be in the red.
Yeah.
Be in the blue. Try to, and then your attitude. This is something that only you and you can control it. Okay, so may mga problema. Okay, let's do it. Minsan lalapit yung spouse mo sa'yo, sweetheart, paano to? Paano yung mga bills natin? Di ba ikaw naman panik ka rin. No. Subukan mo lang. Practice lang ito mga kasama. Practice lang ha. Subukan yung gawin itong mga techniques na to. And then, sabi ni Eric, yung expand my control. Relax ka lang, sweetheart. Chill ka lang. May awa ang Diyos. I will work hard. I will find a way. I'll strategize. I'll improve my skills. Blah, blah, blah. So lahat na yan. Nandito lahat yan sa blue. And then you will notice now na dati, by expanding your focus, kasi remember the power of focus, what you focus your energy constantly will happen.
True.
If you focus on negative, negative yan. If you focus on positive, positive yan. And if you apply this technique, I promise you, my friends, na dati akala mo, biktima ka, wala kang magagawa, tatanggapin mo na lang yung mga nangyayari, madidepressed ka forever, you will be surprised. You will realize you have the power to control na, kaya ko pala. Tama yung sinabi ni Howell. Ang galing. Diba? So nagkakaroon sila ng ganun, nag-umpisa. So these are the two circles which I like to share. Very important in changing our attitude. Because, sabi nga nila, attitude is about this because my friends, the crisis doesn't care what you think or feel. It doesn't really care. Whatever course ang kinuha mo, whatever money you have in the bank, no, it doesn't really care. Jobless ka, it doesn't care. What we can change the situation, but we can change our attitude. Ito na lang yung tinatawag na last human freedom natin, that we can do something. Yan, remember? It's our human freedom. I can change my attitude.
Yeah.
At least man lang, maging masaya kami ng family ko. Di ba? Okay na. Maybe try by having faith and then assessing the situation and then preparing to evolve in the new normal. Take note of the word evolve. Evolve. Para kang cocoon. Ito yung nakwenta niyo minsan ni Susette. From a cocoon, reinvent, di ba? So, ganun talaga eh. We have to, don't be the worm lang. Di ba? You have to evolve to be a butterfly.
Yes.
Ayan, yeah. Thank you for that. So, that's the key to success by first having control. At yung doon sa mga nagsasabi dyan na, Eric, paano naman yung government at kung ano pa, di ba? Daming mga reklamo sa buhay, no? Wala kang magagawa eh. Sad to know, no? Okay, sige. Andyan na yan eh, my friends. Andyan na yan eh, wala ka na magagawa. But here's my assignment to all of you. Here's my assignment. This is from me. If there's nothing you can do to change our leaders today, andyan na yan eh. You're focusing beyond your control eh. Pag pinoblema mo sila forever. There's nothing you can do about them. Be sure you develop the next leaders who can change the world. You make sure, yung mga bata, yung mga kids, sila ang next leaders. You make sure, ha? Puro ka reklamo, ha? Sige. Pero make sure yung mga bata na yan ay sila ang next generation. Help them succeed where we failed. Kasi kung sino man ang nakaupo ngayon, di ba, in any position, kasalanan din natin lahat yan eh. We are responsible for that. Whoever's your leader, your boss, your manager, whoever all these people are connected eh. But make sure you develop the next generation so that they can succeed. Kaya na ginagawa na Ariva sa mga scholars. Nakaka-inspire, hindi ba? Yes. Ariva is supporting the scholars para sila na magiging next influencers ng ating bansa. And here's another I'd like to share. Whatever stories you believe about yourself becomes real. It becomes real. Because the crisis is just a chapter of your success story. Lahat tayo may tinatawag na success story. But you all believe this is what you call self-worth. Self-worth natin. Huwag yung kakalimutan. Remember the keyword, self-worth. These are stories that you believe about yourself. Kunyari, if you're a wife and then you're a husband and you feel you're not worthy, yun ang mangyayari. This feeling that comes to you constantly. Bakit nagkakaroon ng hindi pagkakaunawa ng mag-asawa? is because of the little things that you do every day. Are you doing something to add value to her, or are you being a liability to her? It's just a question, my friends. Because it's all about the stories that ay, hindi ko kaya magbago, Eric. Yan na, may story ka na, no? Hindi ko kaya magbago. Kasi ito lang alam ko eh. Yan ang problema. Yan ang problema. You have to understand that every is a chapter, no, in your life. What do you mean chapter? For example, in this picture, transition to where you are now. This is one of the most important to have achieved a successful attitude. Is that you have to have the ability to transition from where you are now to where you want to be. This picture that you see here, ginagawa natin yan, ano? Ngayon, hindi na pwedeng ganito face to face. One of my first job, Howell, I had humble beginning. I work as a waiter. Nagtrabaho ko ang inyong lingkod. I work as a waiter. I was proud of that job for 2 years. Yun ang comfort zone ko. Happy na ako ron. Ang pangarap lang namin ang pangarap lang namin, noong time na yun, I was very young, in my 20s, sabi ko nga, ang pangarap lang namin lahat, maging regular employee ng hotel na yon as a waiter. Happy na ako doon. Yun ang comfort zone ko eh. Wala na yung mga, never in my dreams na magiging ganito ako, world traveling speaker, wala. That was my mindset. That was my mindset during that time. I don't know about self-esteem and transition. Wala namang mga mentor nung panahon na yun eh. But when I was working there in the hotel, sabi ko, nagkaroon ako tinatawag na self-realization. Do I see myself being a waiter forever? Or maybe there's something I can do better to help others? Nagkaroon ako ng ganung mindset. Now, there's nothing wrong about being a waiter. Kaya lang, marami akong gusto pang gawin. There's so many things I want to do. At hindi ko magagawa yun in the boundaries of that job. So I had to make a transition. I resigned from that safe and libreng kape and pagkain lahat. I had to let go of that very prestigious job and to experiment. I did a lot of experiment, a lot of failures, Howell. Sinubukan ko mag-sales. So after nagbenta ako ng encyclopedia, ng kaldero, ng vacuum cleaner. Every year I was moving from one job to another. Why? Why? Because I want to learn new skills. I was so determined. Hindi ka naman pwedeng waiter tapos next week, nag-seminar ka na, right? Hindi. The journey of that transition took years in the making. From being a waiter, learning sales techniques, hanggang naging speaker ako, hanggang naging consultant ako. And this is where I am right now. This is the transition.
Wow. Galing.
I'm now traveling the world, meeting investors, closing deals all over the world, doing seminars, inspiring Filipinos. Pero hindi ko magagawa to if I didn't have that mind transition from being a humble beginning as a waiter and believing removing those stories, all the negative things, and believing that I can do it, I can change, I can improve, I can innovate myself step by step. I'm not saying bigla, no? Step by step until ma-achieve ko yung goals ko. And this is where I am right now, as proof that what I'm sharing with you is based on my real life experience lang. What happened to me, what works for me. I don't know sa iba, but this is what happened to me. That's why I'm sharing this. I'm passionately sharing this to you because it's possible. You can change, my friends. You can change. This is not the end of the world. Naranasan ko magtinda ng chicken sa kalye, manok.
Galing, no?
Ganun, vendor. Naging street vendor tayo. Ang dami kong pinagdaanan. Yeah.
Galing. Nakaka-relate ako sa iyo, Sir Eric, ha?
Yeah.
Kasi working student din ako nun.
Kasi pag may dumating na crisis sa buhay mo, wala ng image. Wala na branding.
Totoo yan. Yeah.
Wala akong, I don't care kung ano sabihin ng ibang tao sa akin. I'll just go out there and be fearless. So yun ang share ko sa inyo, ha?
Galing.
So yan, that's my story and I hope naka-inspire sa lahat mga kasama natin. So here are the 10 success attitudes which I'd like to personally share from my personal experience, my humble personal experience, which I applied in my 20 years, which I hope it will help you a lot. It helped me in my career. It helped me in my transition. It helped me survive the pandemic. Even now, itong nakatulong sa akin. So, and I'm sharing this to you now. Okay, if you're ready, let's go. Success attitude number 1. This is very important. Know your potentials. My friends, akala natin kasi wala kang potential eh. You were made to believe since you were young na, anak ha, ito lang, ito magiging, mahirap lang tayo ha, ito lang ang magiging, maniwala. oh my God, may mga ganun ka maririnig ng mga mind conditioning. But you remember this, you have so much potentials in you. You have no idea how unlimited you are. So please, don't think now you're just one job lang, okay? Or one career lang. You have multiple potentials that you can get out. You can close it. Number 2, this is very important. Find your purpose in life. Find your purpose. Even if it takes you a lifetime, huwag niyong titigilan yan. Because purpose is the ultimate achievement of your fulfillment of your goals. Because, for example, passion is different from purpose. Passion is, although these are activities that you follow with your heart, this will lead you to your purpose.
Yes.
Magkaiba yon. So find your purpose. Sometimes 90% alam niyo na purpose niyo, kaya lang tinatago niyo yung sarili niyo. You're hiding from your own potentials. So get it out of your system. Find your purpose. Find your purpose and just do it. Next, you take responsibility. I never blame anyone. Naghirap kami ng family ko. Alam yan ng parent. I grew up from a stable family. Naghirap kami, Howell. We lost everything. We lost everything, literally. But I never blame anyone. I took responsibility and I did my best. Kahit mahirap, start from the bottom, don't worry. From having 2 drivers in high school, bigla na lang after a few weeks, naghuhugas na ako ng plato. Imagine mo yung transition na yun. So, siguro sa mga middle class, hindi ka I don't know, but it's taking responsibility. So, okay, naghirap tayo. Okay, game. Go lang. Attitude. Taking responsibility. Don't forget. Number 4 is also important because this is what in my career, this is the principle that I use in all my career. Value their trust.
Yes.
Kapag may nagtitiwala sa'yo, kasi karamihan kasi, well, we become complacent in our job, in our career, in our business. Pag may nagtiwala sa'yo, tendency ng ibang Pilipino, hindi naman lahat, di ba? They tend to relax, take advantage. Minsan to the point na, alam mo na, taking something pa nga, doing things na mali.
Yeah.
Sinisira nila yung tiwala nila. Notice yung mga walang trabaho or nawalan ng opportunity despite all their talent, dahil nasira yung tiwala ng tao sa kanila, where are they now? Wala na. They're struggling. But if your attitude is taking care of other people's trust, nagtitiwala ka sa akin, you're my boss, nagtitiwala ka sa akin, boss, I will work very hard to keep our company. Iba ang dating nun. Iba yun. You will never run out of opportunity. Boss, ito yung meron kang pera na iwan, ito. Di mga ganun honesty. Notice yung mga, di ba? Kitang-kita mo naman sa mga taxi driver na nagsusoli ng mga naiwan or what. They have the highest opportunity compared to others. So this is very important, valuing people's trust. May nagtiwala sa'yo, yan ang sekreto for success. Yan, believe me. Next, live your life with integrity. Alam ko marami, baka may mga, some of you may agree, Eric, bakit ganun? Pwede naman tayo mabuhay na nadadaya ng kapwa, diba? Yeah, but the question is, nasa na yung mga yun?
Yeah.
Where are they now? Yung mga nandadaya na yan. So don't please remove them from the equation. You live your life with integrity. Kahit lahat is dishonest, you live your life. Why? Because when the time comes, you have your family to share this knowledge of yours. Talagang yung pangalan mo, naingatan mo. Not pera ha, yung pangalan. When you have an integrity, your name itself pa lang, nabanggit pa lang pangalan mo, talagang wala ka ng problema sa opportunities. People will come to you. Boss will hire you because you are a person of integrity. Wala kang dinayang tao, wala kang nilokong kapwa. That's my secret. That's why I closed 3 billion sales, Howell.
Grabe, no?
Yeah, because when someone pag may kliyente ako nagtiwala sa akin, iniingatan ko yan. I value their trust. I live with integrity. Pag sinasabi, no, hindi ko sisirain ang tiwala ko. Hindi ko sisirain ang pangalan ko para sa ganyan lang.
Yeah.
Yan yung tinatawag na integrity. Believe me, my friends, pag na-apply nyo to, wag niyo ng problema yung trabaho. Believe me. You will never run out of opportunities because you are a person of trust and integrity.
Yes.
Success attitude yan. Next, believe in that there is good. Oh, sabihin na natin, dami makukulit dyan, pasaway. But always believe that there is good in people. Marami na akong mga taong kinuha ko, Howell. Marami akong taong pinagkatiwalaan, pero niloko ko. Or they stab me behind the back. Nakaranas din ako ng ganyan. Sinuportahan mo lahat-lahat. Tapos inaway ka pa rin. Di ba? Kung ano nga ginawa, maraming hindi magagandang ginawa sa akin. Yeah. I let go of those feelings, those energy. I always believe that there is good pa rin in other people. So I kept the faith and I kept trusting people pa rin. I just be careful. Nagiging careful lang ako, but I never give up believing in. For example, may bata. Makulit yung bata. Believe that this child will be a leader. Yeah. To all parents out there, please, itong advice ko sa inyo, kahit anong kulit ng bata na yan, please huwag kayong give up. Kasi yung makulit na bata yan, baka yan ang maging successful. I don't have the survey right now, no, but sabi nila, yung mga matitigas na ulong bata, yan daw nagiging chances of higher success.
Galing.
Bakit ka mo? Kasi matigas ang ulo nila eh. Psychologically speaking, matigas ang ulo. So probably, pag mayroong pagsubok na dumadaan doon sa bata, matigas din ang ulo niya.
Kaya rin niya. Kakayanin niya rin.
Yes, kasi makulit siya. Matigas na ulong bata siya. So, kaya lang, you have to guide them to the right path para to make sure yung kanyang actions is within moral, ethical values. So that's why you believe that there's good. I know because dati ako makulit na bata. I was a bad boy nung bata ako. I was a very naughty kid. At my mom was so patient with me. Kung di siya naging patient sa akin, wala ako ngayon dito. Because she believed I can be good someday. Hanggang mag-mature ng mind. Next is, number 7, success attitude. I like to share with you, real life experience. You have to understand, you have to have an attitude that life is a learning process.
It is.
It's not just a journey. It's not just a journey, ha? Sabi, life is a journey. Sabi nila, di ba? Well, a journey is a journey. Pero you have to understand, life is a learning process. Have you learned a lot, diba? Have you learned? Have you evolved in the process? Which is better, the journey or the process?
The learning process.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Well, yeah, I'm sure agree mo.
For me. And they said it's the process also.
Yes, it's a process. I understand that life is a journey, but also understand it's a process. Hindi kasi kung journey lang yan, di journey lang, di ba? So how's the journey? Bakit pa ulit-ulit ka nagkakamali? Bakit pa ulit-ulit nagkakamali?
And Sir Eric, ang dami ang tagal lang nag-journey, wala pa ring natututunan.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes. Diba? That's my point. Journey ka lang journey.
Pero walang learning. Walang realization.
That's right. And then you wonder, bakit ganito ang buhay? Ano, diba? What's happening? Diba? So there is a learning process. Kung ikaw na-depress ngayon, hindi dahil sa hindi mo lamang gagawin mo. Hindi ka nakapag-prepare to improve, to learn in the process. Yan ang totoo, my friends. I'm sorry baka ibang sinasabi ko baka hindi nagugustuhan. I'm just straight to the point lang.
Pero tama ka, sir. Tama ka, Sir Eric. Kasi even yung depression, yung moments of depression can be our teacher as well. Diba? Yung learning, the depression state is a learning experience to be humble, to be well prepared, to be more frugal. So it's still part of the process.
At saka alam mo, talking about the process of education, hindi natin masisisi yung mga bata today compared nung panahon natin. Kasi nung panahon natin, kung compare mo, we were spanked by our parents.
Oh, ay grabe.
Ngayon, di ba? Palo.
Mamimili ka.
Sinturon.
Chinelas.
Pero ngayon, wala na. Wala na. But look, indirectly, look what happened to us. We were more matibay. Ang matibay sa buhay. Notice yung mga bata ngayon, hindi ko naman nila lahat, but mapapansin mo, they were being programmed na, okay, dahil hindi ko pwedeng sabihin sa'yo to, kailangan mahinawan ako magsalita sa'yo. Diba? So they're conditioning you to be weak. Kasi feeling nila, okay, because I'm weak, kaya kailangan you should treat me, you don't say words that will hurt my feelings. So imagine the self-esteem, and then the self-esteem depreciates. Kaya magtataka ka, pagdating ng pag-graduate nila, pag wala makitang trabaho, depression.
Okay.
Saan ka nakakita sa US, nag-suicide teenager dahil in-unfriend lang sa Facebook?
Kawawa naman.
Hindi talaga ako
Kawawa sila,
Imagine mo,
kawawa.
ganun katindi ang self-esteem. And this is
Mm.
where our role bilang speakers and motivational
Yeah.
inspiration is we really have to get this message out to them.
Mm.
Hey, Facebook lang yan.
Yeah.
So what kung in-unfriend ka? Di unfriend mo sila. Tutan, di naman lahat ng 5,000 friends mo, friends yan eh. Delete mo yung mga yan. The bashers, delete mo yan.
Yes.
Yeah. So like it's a learning, don't forget, it's a learning process.
It's a
and
learning
Paradise
process. Gusto ko yan.
learning this thing. And then ito, very important ito, which I also apply my personal life, in business too as well. Use your intuition. Maraming sa ating dito kasi, we develop our skills, but we never develop our intuition all our life. We try to set aside. What is intuition? It is the ability, okay, to understand a situation without any common reasoning. Without reasoning. Nafe-feel mo when something's wrong. Minababibrate ka. Meron kang nafe-feel. Gut. It could be gut. It could be instinct. You call it in psychology. But for me, it's intuition. Yung nafe-feel mo. So you have to trust this process so that when you're meeting people, may problema yung tao, your attitude is, your intuition is to be very understanding to them. Sige, mag-usap tayo. Okay, tapos pag alam mo may manloloko sa'yo, mukhang lolokohin ka, nafe-feel mo. Parang binobola ako itong kausap ko.
Yeah.
In business. And this is the reason why I survived in business. Naiiwasan ko yung mga taong gusto kong lokohin o manloko. Kasi you have this intuition. You practice your power of intuition. It's there. Lahat tayo meron yan. You have to practice it. Okay. So intuition, your ability to understand the situation without common reasoning. Number 9. Ito, napakahalaga ito. Rise from failures, mga kasama sa buong mundo. Ating mga friends in US, Europe, Middle East, lahat na nakikinig ngayon sa video na to. Remember, failures will never end. This is not about being positive. Success attitude is not being positive lang, my friends. After this webinar, next week, next month, next year, you will encounter lots and lots of failures. But don't forget, for every failure, you can rise. Tandaan niyo yan, ha? You can rise. Ang gagawin ko, sige. Sabi ni Eric sa training, I will rise again. Makakaraos kayo. Because, ano sa tingin niyo? Mawawala na ng failures after the pandemic? Do you really think, hindi tayo mauubusan ng failures? Ako na lang sample, ang dami ko naging failures din sa buhay. But that's how you learn.
Yeah.
That's the only way you learn, from failures. The hard way. Okay. Don't forget, rise from failures. Then number 10, the 10 success attitudes. Ito sana to become a high performer, to succeed in any undertaking, including moving from this pandemic. My friends, be very, very fearless in taking action. Everything that we have discussed today. Take action. This will not, taking action is not just watching a podcast, watching a video, reading a book. Taking action is really taking action. At huwag kayo matakot kung magkaroon ng failure o you just go out there and do it. Like naman Steve Jobs, Rockefeller, Henry Ford, lahat ng mga mapapansin niyo, lahat ng mga magagaling sa industry, they all had a fearless mindset, taking action. So, let me ask you this question before we end this slide.
Sige.
Imagine nyo mga lahat na nagiginig. Imagine nyo, you are fearless in life. How limitless would you be kung hindi kayo natatakot? Kung hindi kayo takot sa pandemic? Imagine nyo lang. Alisin mo yung pandemic mo na ngayon. Imagine mo how limitless you are. Yeah. So you see, you already have that energy within you. You already have that power. And this is what I'm sharing. And I'm sharing this power to you. You have that power. I'm just reinforcing that power that within you na hindi mo ginamit. Masyado tayong na-lockdown for 2 months. Pati yung don't let your potentials ma-lockdown din. Pati sarili mo ni-lockdown mo. Your mindset. Your mind is so precious. Yeah. Alam niyo ba, Howell, kwento ko lang sa inyo nung high school, In 30 minutes, the power ng mind natin, 30 minutes inisip ko magkakalagnat ako dahil ayoko matinong subject ng trigonometry. 30 minutes nag-focus ako, magkakasakit ako. Alam mo, nilagnat ako in 30 minutes.
Grabe, no?
True story yan. And
Galing.
tapos nung nasa clinic na ako, ni-reverse ko yung thinking ko, ayoko nang gawin to sa sarili ko. So, wala akong sakit. So, bumalik yung health ko. Until now, hindi ko ma-explain, pero ganun palang ka-powerful ang mind.
That's how powerful our mind is, no?
Yeah. So that's the key, the 10 success attitudes. I hope you would use this and share this to others. First apply, and then share it to others. Because if you say, sige, after the pandemic na ako kikilos, or maybe after 2 months, no. That's procrastination. And for me, procrastination is a form of excuse for not taking action. This is one gusto ko i-share sa inyo. Please don't make excuses to yourself. Mag-excuse ka na sa iba, wag sa sarili mo. Don't make excuse to yourself. And while the rest of the world are still watching news for 2 months na, kayo naman, focus on improving your income generating skills. Ngayon, alam mo na ang gagawin mo. Nandun ka na sa circle of control mo na kaya mo, not within your control. This is something within my control. I can improve my skills, Howell.
Totoo.
Na kung paano mag-improve. Ayan, ang dami yan. Andyan kayo, si Howell, andyan ang mga speakers ng Ariva. Ang daming sources where you can get those income generating. Now, if you want marketing skills, I can teach you a lot. Kaya lang kulang ang oras natin. This is not about sales and marketing. But I'm just sharing with you that may pag-asa, my friends. Don't think that you only have one skill. You have multiple skills. Hindi mo lang ginagamit. At hindi mo ginagamit kasi hindi ka naniniwala sa sarili mo.
Kaya dapat, Sir Eric, merong volume 2. Volume 2 ang webinar mo. Ang webinar mo. Ha? Dapat, ha?
If I of course. Time permits. So remember, my friends, don't forget, improve your income generating skills. Ano ba income generating skills? Sige, tatanong ko na. Nung araw, ang trabaho ko, waiter. Ito lang alam ko, waiter. Sige, waiter, 8,000 pesos a month. Okay,
uy, ang laki ng sweldo mong waiter, ha? Grabe.
Yes. May kasama ko, 12 hours.
And it's a 5-star hotel.
It's a 5-star hotel. Ngayon, Sofitel ang tawag. Okay, so waiter ako. Pero sabi ko, paano ko kayo ma-improve ang skills ko? Kailangan ko matuto ng marketing skills. Pero hindi ko magagawa yun kapag ito yung ginagawa. So I have to let go of the job and learn new skills. Kaya ngayon, ang income ko noon at saka ngayon, malayo ang pinagkaiba. Anong difference? Skills ang pinagkaiba. Which took years of experience, changing your mind and evolving in the process. Ngayon, gusto ko ngayon, trabaho ko, nakaupo lang, pirma-pirma, may check ka na, may 1 million ka na.
Sana all, Sana all.
Oo, di ba? Kaya all. My friends, kaya. Remember my story, ha? Remember my story.
Yes,
Dati lang po itong waiter. Waiter lang po ako noon. Pero hindi ako sumuko. Kaya niyo magbago. Kaya wag niyo isipin itong pandemic na to. You can learn online skills to improve your income generating skills.
Sir Eric, naalala ko nung college ako, working student ako, Jollibee, 10 pesos per hour, hingal kabayo sa pagod.
Oh my gosh.
So kasama rin yun. That's why I can relate. Dati, 10 piso kada oras. Ngayon, huwag na lang nating sabihin.
10 piso. Okay. And there were many times na uuwi ako ng bahay. Wala na ako, sakto lang pamasahe ko papunta.
Naglalakad ka?
Wala na ako balik. Di ba, my friends, we all have our stories. Remember?
Galing.
Lahat tayo may mga stories na ganun. Pinapaalala ko lang sa inyo na kung yun ay kinaya nyo, this is nothing. This challenge. At sa mga nagsasabi na hindi nyo daw kaya magbago, doesn't believe in you, please, my friends, ito tandaan nyo to, this is my 10-90 formula. I'm sharing with you, my 10-90. Don't forget that 10% of the world think positive kagaya natin. Sorry, konti lang po talaga tayo. This is according to the survey. You can check, I have all the surveys I can show you. Ito yung naging ni-round off ko na lang. 10% of the population are think positive. Konti lang mga kagaya natin. 90% are negative. So, tandaan yan. So, I suggest focus on the few, not the majority.
Tama.
Kung hindi kayang handle yung mga bashers, Di ba? Huwag niyo naman problemahin yung mga bashers na yan.
Scroll up
Leave them
lang.
behind.
Scroll up. Scroll up.
Yeah,
Scroll up.
yeah.
Ganun
Scroll
lang.
na yan. Delete. Oh,
Oo.
focus on those who are successful, kagaya ni Mr. Howell, ni Miss Irish, lahat ng mga speakers.
Mr. JM.
And yeah, and Mr. JM, lahat. Yun ang sundan yung muna yung model na yun, yung 10% na yun. Then pag successful ka na, saka mo na balikan yung mga 90%.
Oh.
Kasi you cannot help the 90%. You cannot save them all.
Mm-hmm.
Kung ikaw mismo wala.
Tama.
You cannot help them kung ikaw wala. So you have to succeed first. You have to be part of the 10%. Remember the triangle kanina? The wealth triangle? Konti lang talaga eh. And to those who are still coping, naintindihan ko yan, hindi naman po lahat perfect, di ba? Some are coping, some are ready to move on na, gigil na. So, this is my formula. No stress. Sabihin nyo, no stress.
No stress.
No stress, my friend. No pressure, ha? Basta too much breaking news will affect your mental and physical health. Kaya ang gawin nyo, sign off, close that TV, anything na hindi productive sa mind, alisin nyo. Pray every night. That's my suggestion to have a success attitude. And share whatever you can. Whatever. Yeah,
yes.
Oh, me and my wife, we were donating rice sa amin. Laguna. Anong kaya mo lang. No pressure. It breaks the activity para you can live a fulfilling life. And remember this, the power of the mind, sabi nga nung ito nakaraang ang dami ko nakuha mga...
Oy, grabe yan.
This is a true story nung nakaraang pandemic. Si Attorney Navarro na nag-survive sa COVID, sabi niya ito, tinicturean ko eh. Sabi niya, ang pananatiling maratag ang iyong isipan, yan daw ang naging dahilan kaya siya naka-recover sa COVID.
Totoo.
So that's the power of the mind. Totoo pala.
First person to openly admit that he was COVID-19 positive.
Kasi kung di siya positive, para siyang, wala, dediretso na siya. Sigurado. Yeah. But sabi niya, his mental mind was the cause of his life.
Tama.
Okay, so mga kasama so totoo ang positive success attitude. Totoo ang evidence that the mind is that powerful. So, and before we conclude our topic, I'd like to share this with you. Always be consistent. Let your faith be as strong as your will. Diba? Lahat tayo, we pray so hard. Sabayan, dapat kung ano yung hard nyo magdasal, yun din ang hard ng will nyo dapat. You should have hindi pwedeng nagdadasal tayo, tapos mahina ang loob. Parang hindi consistent no? Hindi eh. Wag yung kukontrahin yung dasal nyo by negative attitude. Panay nga ang dasal mo, negative thinker ka naman. Ano mangyayari? Hindi balance. So, dapat consistent. Let your faith be consistent, as strong as your will. And that, I think, God will be very happy with us.
I love
Sigurado ko. Thank you. So that concludes our topic. Howell, I think, are we on time? Hindi ko na monitor.
Napaka naman natin si Sir Eric Manalo. Sir Eric, almost 2 hours yung homily mo, ha? It felt like a homily. It's like you are a pastor, an imam, a priest, a minister, a lay minister, an economist, a teacher, a professor, a prophet rolled into one. And we thank you. Time flew so fast because of your inspiring, highly informative, practical, and authentic presentation. So palakpakan naman natin, Sir Eric, mabuhay ka. Mabuhay ka. Sir Eric, ganito bigyan natin sila ng 2 minuto. So right now, it's 4:43. So plus 2 minutes, we'll have just 15 minutes of Q&A. Pwede mag-extend tayo ng another 5 para maging 20 minutes man lang yung Q&A natin. Okay. So sige. So thank you, Sir Eric, for our Zoom participants. And we're being flooded now. Ang daming gratitude of di ba? Dami. Sige. So 2 minutes, and I will need to go. I will need to go to the room and relieve myself for 2 minutes. Everyone, type in your question at the Q&A box. Balikan natin. Exciting. Maraming salamat. Mabuhay ka, Sir Eric. Walang aalis. See you in 2 minutes, everyone.